So now we have answers as to what the investigation was that led police into the investigation of missing Blake Devin and London Devin. I'm going to read the article that was put out by the Fayetteville Observer. Despite the impassioned pleas of Leonie Maxwell's daughter, Avante Devin, or Michelle Spiegel, or Ava Maxwell, or, the list doesn't stop, but we won't go there right now. One of her names, Avante Devin, a judge on Thursday granted an emergency petition giving the Cumberland County Department of Social Services control over medical decisions for the gravely ill 95-year-old whose two adopted grandchildren have been missing for years. The judge said that Leonie was in a fragile state and that in granting DSS motion at the end of a mostly closed civil court. She's in a fragile state, says Judge Cole Jordan in granting the DSS motion. She's in a fragile state, Judge Cole Jordan said in granting the DSS motion at the end of a mostly closed civil court hearing. A missed phone call could mean life or death. The court cannot take that chance. The judge's ruling followed a mostly closed district court hearing at which Devin and her attorney were present as counsel for DSS and a guardian ad litem to advocate for Maxwell's best interest. Maxwell's daughter, Avante Devin, 61, is also at the center of both control over her ailing mother's medical care and an investigation into the disappearances of two of her adopted children. Blake, now 18, and London, 27, were both reported missing, though Devin told authorities she had not seen them in years. Blake was last seen in 2022 and London in 2019, according to Fayetteville Police Department records. In a call to 911 on January 19th, Avante Devin told dispatchers she last saw her adopted son, who would have been 15 at the time, as he was leaving for a Buddhist retreat. He was listed as a runaway for months, but on March 20th, police were called to the home for a suicidal subject. In the March 20th call, 911, in the March 20th call to 911, a 15-year-old boy, presumably another one of Devin's adopted children, who turns out as Blake Devin's biological brother, tells the dispatcher he wants to harm himself and that his brother has been punching him and teasing him all day, and right now he is feeling very suicidal. The dispatcher asks, "Is anyone in danger right now?" He says, "No, except for me." She says, "Okay, how do you plan to kill yourself?" He says, "I was planning on taking some pills for my mom and taking them." 8 days later, police issued a news release stating, while conducting interviews in a separate police investigation, several members of Blake's family reported that they had not seen him in several years. And then 7 days after announcing that Blake Devin was missing, authorities said London Devin is also missing. Officials announced April 12th that human skeletal remains were found during the search for the missing siblings. Police would not say when and where the bones were recovered, but revealed that Devin's current Berrydale Drive home and her previous home on Eichelberger Drive were among at least 4 locations that have been searched. The identity of the remains is still pending results from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, officials said. As the investigation continues, Police Chief Braden has urged the public to report any interactions with the missing children or the Devin family since they arrived in Fayetteville in November of 2016. In regards to Avante's hearing for her mother, among the reasons for asking the court to issue the emergency order, DSS stated in its motion that there had been discussions of whether Leonie Maxwell needed a DNR. Such an order under North Carolina law allows a patient or patient representative the right to withhold cardiopulmonary resuscitation and other life-prolonging measures to avoid loss of dignity and unnecessary pain and suffering. The motion also notes the need for an emergency order exists because, quote, FBI agents have been to Leonie Maxwell's hospital room to question her with regard to her daughter/current caregiver's children and their mysterious disappearance. The Department of Social Services stated in the motion that Cape Fear Valley Medical Center had been unable to reach Avante Devin to discuss necessary medical decisions for her mother, who was on a ventilator and feeding tube in the hospital intensive care unit after suffering a stroke and resulting brain injury in November. While the evidence presented Thursday happened while the courtroom was closed to the public, the judge reopened the court for final argument and recounted the facts before handing down the decision giving DSS control. Jordan said the evidence showed that Leonie Maxwell was hospitalized after her stroke and was discharged to her mother's home in February. 11 days later, Maxwell was readmitted to the hospital and put into the ICU with pressure wounds, swelling, dehydration, and sepsis from a urinary tract infection. DSS has said that Maxwell was non-responsive and unable to communicate. Jordan said the hospital has tried repeatedly to contact Avante Devin concerning her mother's care but was unsuccessful. The judge noted that Avante Devin said the hospital had difficulty reaching her because she was forced to stay at a hotel for days as police conducted at least 4 searches at her Berrydale Drive home. She was also forced to turn over cell phones, the judge said. He said that Avante Devin claimed that her mother's grave condition was the fault of an in-home healthcare nurse who fell asleep on shift. Avante Devin, who was animated throughout the ruling, expressed displeasure with the judge's decision and tried to persuade him to reconsider. "I am 100% available right now. I will be at the hospital every day," she told Jordan. "I will have my phone on my chest. I've done everything. I'm very competent to take care of my mother." But Jordan was unswayed, noting that the investigation into the missing family members would take away Avante Devin's ability to make decisions for her mother.